Today, Thursday, the grand halls of Buckingham Palace stand shrouded in an unusual stillness. The iconic structure, with its towering presence overlooking the bustling streets of London, mirrors the soft glow of the city's lights in its many windows. Yet, beneath this serene exterior, a profound heaviness permeates the air, a silence that carries more weight than any whispered scandal or public outburst. This isn't merely the absence of sound. It's a deliberate hush honed over generations into a formidable tool of strategy. In the storied House of Windsor, where spoken words can ignite crises, this quietude transforms into a shield and a sword. And at the heart of this strategic silence lies a figure who has become its primary target: Prince Harry. His ongoing saga with the royal family has thrust him into the crosshairs of this unspoken warfare, where the monarchy's restraint serves as both defense and offense. Before delving deeper into this intricate web of royal dynamics, I want to pause and address something important. Over the past few days, countless individuals have tuned into these unfolding tales of intrigue and tradition, yet many have yet to commit to the journey. If you're among those who have been following along without subscribing, now is the perfect moment to join the community. Hit that subscribe button on Global Royal Insider to ensure you stay updated on every twist and turn in this captivating chronicle of royal history. Don't miss out on the next installment. Your support keeps these stories alive and accessible. In the last few weeks, Prince Harry's name has once again seized the spotlight across the United Kingdom and far beyond its shores. What began as an intimate conversation intended to explore themes of family bonds, ancestral legacies, and personal authenticity has, according to reports, stirred a simmering discontent within the very core of the royal establishment. The remarks themselves weren't groundbreaking. They included tender recollections of his beloved late grandmother, thoughtful musings on the burdens of royal duty, and gentle critiques of the palace's rigid frameworks. However, the timing of this interview proved to be a catalyst, amplifying tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface. Within the fortified walls of Buckingham Palace, insiders paint a picture of palpable exasperation. The monarchy, having invested considerable effort in navigating the choppy waters of what has been dubbed Mexit, the departure of Harry and Meghan from royal duties, found itself grappling with the resurgence of old wounds. Harry's words acted like a time machine, dragging unresolved conflicts from the past into the glaring light of the present. The response from the palace, however, deviated sharply from what one might expect in an era of instant media reactions. There was no hastily assembled press conference, no televised rebuttal, and certainly no direct confrontation. Instead, the institution reverted to its time-tested modus operandi. It embraced silence. To the uninitiated observer, this quiet might appear as a model of dignified composure, a hallmark of royal poise. But for those versed in the labyrinthine inner workings of the firm, the colloquial term for the royal household, this silence represents the initial phase of a meticulously orchestrated containment effort. The monarchy's public neutrality is far from passive inaction. It's a proactive maneuver, an ethereal barrier erected to quarantine the source of perceived disruption. Drawing from accounts in reputable outlets like The Guardian and ITV News, it's evident that key advisors to the king were apprised of the interview's contents mere hours after its broadcast. This triggered a cascade of confidential deliberations, not the frenzied emergency summits sensationalized by tabloid headlines, but a methodical evaluation of the situation. The focus wasn't on crafting a public retort or launching a counter-narrative. Rather, it centered on safeguarding the monarchy's overarching image, ensuring that Harry's personal disclosures didn't overshadow the symbolic weight of the crown. For an entity that has endured for centuries by masterfully shaping public perception, this challenge was familiar territory, albeit one complicated by evolving dynamics. Harry, no longer bound by the palace's unwritten codes of confidentiality, had altered the playing field. Insiders close to the situation suggest that this recent incident has exacerbated long-standing rifts within the family. King Charles, often characterized as a blend of practical wisdom and paternal concern, is said to advocate for a policy of measured detachment. He eschews direct clashes or forced reconciliations, opting instead for a stoic quiet that allows time to dilute the fervor. Prince William, conversely, perceives his brother's persistent forays into the media as a persistent menace to the monarchy's trustworthiness and unity. While their approaches diverge, Charles leaning toward patience and William toward vigilance, their shared goal remains crystal clear: to neutralize Harry's sway before it erodes the foundational narratives that uphold the crown's authority. This concept of containment transcends mere punishment. It's fundamentally about preservation. The royal institution recognizes that overt drama can corrode its aura of stability and command. Thus, rather than wading into the fray with rebuttals or defenses, it opts to weather the tempest through absorption and isolation. Invitations to high-profile royal gatherings become entangled in bureaucratic complexities, public recognitions dwindle, and references in official communications vanish into obscurity. The tactic is insidious yet profoundly effective, allowing the clamor around Harry to dissipate in solitude, deprived of the oxygen of royal engagement. Adding another dimension to this saga is the involvement of Downing Street, the seat of government power. Confirmed reports indicate that senior officials in the administration were informed about Harry's comments, especially those pertaining to his security protocols while in the UK. The Home Office steadfastly asserts that all matters of royal protection are adjudicated solely on the basis of assessed threats, devoid of personal biases or familial preferences. Nevertheless, the symbolism here is impossible to ignore. When a prince's individual grievances infiltrate the offices of ministers, what was once a private family matter morphs into a political quandary. For the palace, this encroachment into governmental spheres is perilous, as the monarchy's enduring strength hinges on its separation from partisan politics. Harry's utterances, whether deliberate or inadvertent, have blurred these sacred boundaries, introducing an element of unpredictability. In the realm of media analysis, commentators are increasingly framing this as the second chapter in what could be termed the Royal Cold War. The inaugural phase was marked by raw emotional upheaval, heartfelt interviews, best-selling memoirs, and televised confessions that laid bare familial fractures. This subsequent stage, however, is more institutional in nature, characterized by deliberate omissions, strategic absences, and a controlled withdrawal from the spotlight. The Crown doesn't need to launch offensives. It simply withholds acknowledgement. This approach is deeply embedded in the monarchy's historical survival instincts. When confronted with internal strife, the institution seldom engages head-on. Instead, it isolates the dissenting element, absorbs the shock, and perseveres. Consider historical precedents that illuminate this strategy. During the abdication crisis of 1936, when Edward VIII's name threatened to tarnish the monarchy's image, it was swiftly excised from official discourse, erased as if it had never existed. Similarly, when Princess Diana's candid interviews posed a challenge to the royal facade in the 1990s, the palace responded not with heated debates, but with a calculated distance, allowing the storm to pass without direct intervention. This age-old playbook remains potent, prioritizing continuity over confrontation and viewing chaos as the enemy of order. What sets Harry's predicament apart is his unyielding tenacity. He has adeptly harnessed contemporary platforms of influence, streaming services, best-selling books, podcast appearances, and high-profile interviews to amplify his voice. The palace, engineered for the slow cadence of formal announcements and ceremonial decorum, now finds itself embroiled in an asymmetrical information battle against a single individual wielding global reach. Each fresh revelation from Harry reignites dormant controversies, reopening chapters the monarchy believed it had firmly closed. For the Crown, this isn't a quest for factual accuracy. It's a battle for narrative dominion. The institution's deepest apprehension isn't the content of Harry's words per se, but the autonomy they represent, a break from the hierarchical messaging apparatus that has long defined royal communication. As one seasoned royal journalist aptly noted, Harry isn't merely flouting tradition, he's dismantling the monopoly on storytelling. In an age where public perception sculpts legacies, the monarchy can no longer dictate its narrative unchallenged. Consequently, the palace's silence grows ever more intentional. Royal appearances are meticulously scheduled to coincide with or overshadow Harry's media moments. Press briefings pivot toward uplifting themes such as humanitarian endeavors, environmental stewardship, and charitable undertakings. Every snapshot of the king immersed in state affairs, or every radiant smile from the Princess of Wales, functions as a visual counterpoint to the Sussexes' storyline. The family doesn't retaliate. It redirects attention, subtly steering the public's gaze toward the monarchy's positive contributions. This redirection extends into the private sphere as well. According to multiple royal observers, interactions between the two factions, Harry's camp and the palace, have evolved into a transactional routine. Requests for communication, formal greetings, and acknowledgements are routed through intermediaries, stripping away any semblance of personal warmth. It's not overt animosity. It's a curated apathy. a managed disengagement that maintains the facade of civility while enforcing boundaries. Yet silence, despite its potency, is not an infallible weapon. Its limitations become apparent as prolonged withholding invites speculation to fill the void. Public sentiment often gravitates toward the outspoken party, casting the silent institution in a harsher light. This paradox underscores the evolving nature of modern monarchy. What was once perceived as regal dignity now risks coming across as aloof detachment. The palace's famed restraint, a cornerstone of its strength, begins to evoke a sense of emotional disconnection in an era craving transparency. Meanwhile, Prince Harry continues to carve out his role as the harbinger of emotional candor, the progeny who articulates what the system suppresses. He positions his journey not as defiance, but as emancipation, resonating with audiences who value genuineness amid a family steeped in performative tradition. To his admirers, he epitomizes sincerity in a world of scripted roles. To detractors, he embodies disloyalty. But from the institution's vantage point, he is an even greater peril, an unpredictable force that defies control. The notion of a war of silence encapsulates this underlying tension with precision. It's a conflict waged not through declarations or oratory, but via strategic omissions, precise timing, and calculated visibility. Each participant adheres to their script. Harry vocalizes, the crown abstains. The outcome is a protracted standoff between openness and convention, one that exposes the mechanics of power as vividly as it does the undercurrents of personal anguish. At the emotional nucleus of this conflict lies a profoundly human element, the yearning for belonging. Harry's estrangement isn't geographical, it's emblematic. He retains his princely title yet remains alienated from the framework that confers meaning to that identity. His kin, tethered by obligations of duty, cannot assimilate his unpredictability without jeopardizing their carefully cultivated image. The more he expresses himself, the wider the chasm becomes, deepening his symbolic exile. Within Buckingham Palace, this silence fulfills another critical role. It affords time. The monarchy operates on the principle of longevity, not immediacy. Unlike politicians who must react within the news cycle, the crown responds on a generational timescale. The tactic is to endure the present turbulence, allowing history to soften its edges. For the institution, the protracted strategy invariably prevails. Nevertheless, even within the palace's inner sanctum, there are undercurrents of apprehension. Some aides express concern that this policy of exclusion might solidify public views of the king as lacking empathy. The late Queen Elizabeth II, with her intuitive sense of gradual reconciliation, might have approached this differently. King Charles, in contrast, appears guided by a focus on stability. He leads not as a parent yearning for familial unity, but as a sovereign prioritizing institutional continuity, a leadership style that is pragmatic yet less emotionally resonant. Prince William, embodying the monarchy's future, is resolute in his commitment to modernization. For him, the institution must evolve or face obsolescence. The Sussex's situation serves as a cautionary tale rather than a personal tragedy, reinforcing his emphasis on collective resilience over individual grievances. Thus, the familial schism endures, not fueled by rage, but by divergent philosophies. Beyond the interpersonal drama, the ramifications are systemic and far-reaching. The British monarchy's longevity hinges on its mastery of narrative control. Harry's autonomy has injected an uncontrollable variable, one that eludes prediction or suppression. His account proliferates worldwide, unfiltered by palace intermediaries. This erosion of narrative exclusivity is revolutionary and profoundly destabilizing for a system rooted in secrecy and hierarchy. As a veteran royal correspondent observed, in this silent warfare, both combatants incur losses. Harry forfeits intimacy, while the monarchy surrenders authority. This encapsulates the true essence of the moment, a dynasty fractured not solely by controversy, but by the very act of communication, or its absence. Whispers persist of potential reconciliation in the future, perhaps catalyzed by shared sorrows or ceremonial milestones that could bridge the divide. Yet, historical patterns suggest the palace seldom extends forgiveness to those who disrupt its delicate balance. Redemption within the House of Windsor is a rare commodity, seldom bestowed more than once. As spotlights dim and headlines shift, the silence endures. It manifests in the statements that remain unspoken, the invitations that go unissued, and the group portraits that omit once familiar figures. The war of silence persists, subtle in its execution, strategic in its intent, and unrelenting in its impact. And perhaps this is the most unsettling revelation. In a lineage once justified by divine mandate, the ultimate authority resides not in the crown's splendor, but in the power to withhold words. To delve even deeper, let's expand on the historical parallels mentioned. The abdication of Edward VIII in 1936 wasn't just a personal scandal. It was a seismic event that tested the monarchy's adaptability. By swiftly removing his name from official records, the palace prevented a cascade of public sympathy that could have undermined the new king, George VI. This act of erasure wasn't vindictive. It was protective, ensuring the institution's survival amid political upheaval. Similarly, Princess Diana's 1995 Panorama interview, where she famously declared the marriage crowded, prompted a palace response that was equally restrained. Rather than engaging in a media slugfest, the royal household allowed the controversy to fade through time and selective silence, preserving the monarchy's image as a beacon of stability. These examples illustrate how silence has been weaponized not as avoidance, but as a deliberate strategy to outlast transient storms. Harry's use of modern media tools further complicates this dynamic. In an age of social media and streaming, where a single tweet or podcast episode can reach millions instantaneously, the palace's traditional methods seem antiquated. Imagine, for instance, if Harry were to release another memoir or appear on a global platform like Netflix. The palace's silence might amplify his message, turning him into a martyr for free expression. Conversely, the monarchy's redirection tactics, such as timing the announcement of a royal charity initiative to coincide with Harry's latest interview, demonstrate a savvy adaptation. Yet, this raises questions about the long-term efficacy. As public expectations shift toward authenticity, the crown's calculated quietude might backfire, fostering perceptions of elitism or emotional repression. On the emotional front, the theme of belonging is particularly poignant. Harry's journey mirrors that of many who feel estranged from their roots. Consider how his reflections on duty echo broader societal debates about mental health and familial expectations. The palace's containment could be seen as a form of tough love, prioritizing the greater good over individual reconciliation. But this approach risks alienating younger generations who value vulnerability. Prince William's perspective, focusing on modernization, hints at potential reforms, perhaps integrating more open communication in future royal protocols. However, bridging the gap with Harry would require acknowledging his grievances, which the current silence precludes. Internally, the unease among palace aides is telling. Reports suggest that some view King Charles's strategy as too detached, potentially eroding public goodwill. The late Queen's approach, often described as one of quiet diplomacy, involved subtle gestures of inclusion, like occasional nods to estranged family members in public settings. Charles, shaped by his own experiences of duty and loss, may be adopting a more fortress-like mentality, but this could isolate the monarchy further in a world demanding accountability. Systemically, the loss of narrative control is revolutionary. Historically, the monarchy dictated its story through controlled leaks and official biographies. Harry's independence disrupts this, democratizing royal discourse. This shift could inspire other royals to seek similar autonomy, challenging the hierarchical structure. Yet, it also empowers the public, who now consume royal narratives from multiple sources, fostering a more nuanced understanding. In conclusion, the War of Silence is a multifaceted phenomenon, blending strategy, emotion, and tradition. As the monarchy navigates this new era, its silence remains a double-edged sword, protective yet potentially isolating. Harry's persistence ensures the story continues, reminding us that in the grand tapestry of power, the unspoken often speaks volumes.